Hey there, I'm Samara Lynn here with Alex Colon, and welcome to PCMag Live. And as usual, we have today's top trending tech news stories. We have one of your reader-viewer questions that we'll try to answer for you. And we also have one cool thing to show you. So there's lots of news to get to, so we'll get right started. So Alex, Yahoo just released its employee diversity report.
Yeah, it's their first ethnic and employee demographic diversity report. And surprise, the company is overwhelmingly white and male. So it's 62% of the company is male, which is actually a little less than I expected. But the thing is, most of the males in the company hold the leadership positions and the tech positions.
Right.
I think that in among the tech staff, the male to female ratio is actually 85% male, which that is a pretty major gap.
And it's pretty funny because, you know, the CEO is Marissa Mayer, you know, and she's one of her claim to fame is being one of the first women at head of this huge tech company. So you would hope that sort of thing would change, but I guess it takes time.
On the other hand, they're still doing better than Google, which is 70% male.
Right, that's a very good point. And you know, there are a lot of people criticizing these companies saying that they are responsible for pushing women into more leadership positions. I mean, is it really a private company's business to do that? I mean, what do you guys think? Just let us know in the comments. It's probably a real controversial issue, but we'll see how it plays out. So our second news story today is Apple's new iMac. Alex, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Apple just released a new iMac today. It's available today, and it is their least expensive iMac so far. It is $1099, and the new iMac is a 21.5-inch screen. It has a 1.4 gigahertz dual-core Intel Core i5 processor with 8 gigabytes of memory and a 5 gigabyte hard drive. Before this, their least expensive iMac was $1299. And now $1299 will get you a pretty decent mid-range model, still 21.5 inches with a 2.7 gigahertz quad-core i5 and a 1 terabyte hard drive. So, I mean, depending on what you actually need it for, it might be worth it to spend the extra $200, but it's nice to have that low-end option there since it is their least expensive one yet. The 27-inch model still starts at $1799, so that's definitely on the higher end. But it's cool to see them, you know, expanding.
Do we have it in the lab? Are
Not
we testing
yet.
it? Okay,
Yeah.
but we're getting it soon, and we'll probably have a review up pretty soon also. Okay, great. And our last story, now this has to do with the Amazon phone, and there's somebody out there who has a bit of a problem with AT&T's exclusivity on this.
T-Mobile CEO John Legere has a big problem with so yesterday the Wall Street Journal broke a story that the new Amazon phone will be an AT&T exclusive. Now, we don't actually know if that's true until it's announced tonight, but John Legere took to Twitter and had a number of things to say. And because he was so angry about it, it makes me believe that at the very least, T-Mobile isn't getting it because John Legere would have known.
Yeah.
But he did have some really good choice tweets here, such as, Amazon doesn't know what they just signed up for. Remember the Facebook phone? Now, the Facebook phone that was made by HTC, that was an AT&T exclusive, and that was a pretty massive flop. Another good tweet, it's not about failed phones, it's about AT&T. Remember there are issues with iPhone exclusivity? And after that tweet, he linked to an article, it was basically about iPhone overload on the AT&T network. And finally, he said, exclusivity sucks for customers. Exclusivity on AT&T sucks for the industry. I mean, I have to agree to a certain point that exclusivity is kind of a bummer because I remember when the iPhone did first come out and I wasn't an AT&T customer and I really did want to get one and I waited until it eventually was available on more carriers.
Right.
But again, the phone hasn't actually been announced. It will be, we're expecting it to be announced tonight. There are both Amazon and T-Mobile events, so we should have news for them later today if you check back. And then we should have the full story.
There you go. And yeah, definitely stay tuned for developments on that. That's great information. Thanks, Alex. Okay, so on to our reader-viewer question of the day.
Yeah, so our question comes from a YouTube viewer yesterday who asked, we live in rural southeast Nebraska. Our options for internet include dial-up, satellite, or a wide area wireless network, which is their current selection. The local DSL company has a station in town 5 miles away, but they say we are out of range of that station. Is there a way to convince them to update or do anything to get us service? Or do you have any other suggestions?
You know, we all kind of, batted this around in the meeting today. And Sasha Segan and I, Sasha covers cellular and I cover Wi-Fi broadband. We kind of came up with a couple of suggestions. And one of the consensus was that we do believe that this person has the best option already. Satellite and LTE both have data caps. And now Sasha's convinced there's no way he's going to be able to convince his provider to extend that DSL. I think, though, it doesn't hurt to talk to whoever provides your DSL service and ask them about repeaters. A lot of people do live far from their provider's central office, and a lot of times the companies will, I don't know if it's an extra charge, they do have the capacity to put in repeaters to get you DSL. But that's a long shot. Also, another suggestion was maybe back up that wireless ISP connection with a more reliable dial-up connection. And we did also agree that a lot of people underestimate dial-up. As a backup, sometimes it's a good option and often more reliable than a satellite connection. So, yeah, Verizon LTE subscriptions with an amplifier in your home can help you maximize the reception. So you do have a couple of ways to go with this. It is challenging, and you're not alone. This affects a lot of people in the rural areas. So yes, look into a backup of your wireless ISP, and go ahead and ask your provider about repeating the DSL signal. So that was our suggestions.
Yeah, and now we're going to show you one cool thing.
That's right.
And today's cool thing, you reviewed this, Samara.
Yeah, this is a network-attached storage, this little guy, and this is Western Digital's MyCloud Mirror. Now, you may have noticed that there's a lot of MyCloud, personal cloud commercials on TV. Western Digital is really pushing this line really hard, but this is their latest NAS. I like it even better than the original MyCloud. And you know why? Because unlike the MyCloud, this has 2 disk drives. So you get what's called RAID 1 mirroring. So you get that personal cloud where, you have all your data, out there, and you can access it from anywhere, anytime. You have that as a backup. But you also have this extra hard drive where the data gets mirrored from one drive to another. So if one drive goes, all you can do, this is hot swappable, I tested, it works great. You pop in another drive, that mirror gets rebuilt, and you have extra data protection. Now, these units start at about $350 for 4 terabytes, but you can scale up to an 8 terabyte model. The review should be online at least by tomorrow. You can get all the full specs and all the full details and testing on it. And I got to say, I really did like it.
What rating did you give it?
It's an editor's choice, and we're going to give it about 4.5. So, but that'll be up online pretty soon. Great. All right, so thank you, and that's it for today's show. And join us again tomorrow. Have a great day.